Hey, welcome to a new video. Our world contains countless phenomena that remain unsolved, challenging our current understanding. There's still many things on Earth that we haven't figured out yet, making them fascinating subjects of study. Perhaps you've witnessed a mysterious event, but only a few people think to grab a camera and film it.
Are you new to this channel? Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And before we start, also like the video.
In the year 1903, the town of Van Meter was plagued by an 8-foot bat-like creature. It all began on the fateful night of September 29th in 1903, when a local hardware salesman witnessed an unusual light flashing across the rooftops of the businesses in Van Meter. Dr. Alcott then saw a half-human, half-animal creature with bat-like wings and a radiant glow emanating from a single stump horn on its forehead. In an attempt to defend himself, he fired 5 shots at the creature from close range. The following day, a man named Peter Dunn heard a choking sound, followed by a mysterious light piercing through his window. He frightened it away with his gun, and then made plaster casts of the 3-toed footprints it left behind. It was discovered that in 1878, a deep mine had been dug near Van Meter, to a depth of 98 meters, to extract coal and clay. During the year of these strange encounters, employees of the brick and tile factory reported strange noises emanating from the mine shaft, as if Satan and his army of demons were preparing for battle. Testimonies even claimed that they saw 2 beings emerge from the depths of the mine before it was reinforced. In January 2024, journalist Jeremy Corbell released a video allegedly showing a UFO sighting of a jellyfish at the US military base in Iraq in 2018. Several people compared the object to a floating jellyfish. These video images were captured using thermographic infrared radar and show the object changing color as it hovers above the base. The Pentagon, the building of the US Department, referred to the object as a UAP, an unidentified aerial phenomenon. According to the video, the object wasn't visible with normal night vision equipment, and some troops at the base were not even aware of this presence. Eventually, it disappeared into a body of water and reappeared after 17 minutes. It shot into the sky at a high speed and exhibited a temperature change, transitioning from dark to almost translucent white while moving. Marine officer Michael Sinkowski, stationed at the base, confirmed the existence of the video, stating that those who saw it called it a spaghetti monster. He mentioned that sightings of the object began in late 2017, and in recent years, the Pentagon acknowledged studying UAPs. Whistleblower David Grush, a former military intelligence officer, has brought forward claims about a secret program, which is used for recovering crashed UFOs. These impressive tunnels, known as paleo burrows, can reach an impressive length of up to 610 meters and a height of over 1.8 meters. But what is exactly a paleo burrow? It's defined as a shelter excavated by an extinct creature from the prehistoric era. It's now believed that the Brazilian tunnels were the work of giant anteaters and even armadillos that once inhabited this region. Professor Heinrich Frank of the University of Rio Grande do Sul has meticulously documented over 1,500 of them. A tunnel in southern Brazil was believed to contain religious treasures. Nearly 2 meters high, almost 2 meters wide, and about 15 meters long, this tunnel ran under a farmer's house. The only clues that were not ancient chambers were the deep claw marks of non-human beings on the tunnel walls. The main candidates for its marker are the giant anteater and the giant armadillo, both of which roamed the Earth over 10,000 years ago. These gigantic giant anteaters, some up to 4 meters long, walked on 4 legs, although recent research suggests that certain individuals may have been capable of bipedal movement. Along with them, a variety of nearly 100 sloth species roamed the Americas for millions of years, coexisting with giant armadillos. In this next extraordinary incident, a woman was captured on camera freezing in the middle of a laugh in a restaurant. You would probably think it came straight out of a scene from the science fiction film The Matrix. This unusual incident, which lasted a significant amount of time, shows how the woman freezes in what seems like a glitch-like manner, as if time itself momentarily was paused. It left the woman and the people around her startled, wondering what had just happened. Her expression remained motionless in a state of laughter, making it seem as though she was paralyzed in the middle of her laughter for an unusually long time. Terrifying in itself, but a reaction afterward contributed to the chilling nature of the video. When the woman unfroze, she immediately showed a sense of shock and confusion, clearly startled by the unexplained event that had just occurred. Some speculate that the woman seemed possessed during the moments of frozen stillness. Do you think this was some kind of an attack, or was it a case of a demon attempting to take possession of this woman's body? In October 2018, a mysterious sighting was captured in Lake Superior, Michigan. The video footage filmed by a local videographer initially focused on a rainbow, but unexpectedly revealed what appeared to be a glistening ghost ship. This occurred near the rocky shore of Presque Isle Park in Marquette, Michigan. Jason, who was filming a music video in the area, decided to take a break and enjoy the sunset with his crew, when they witnessed this strange phenomenon. The ghostly vessel bobbed on the turbulent waters for almost half an hour before suddenly disappearing. Seeing ghost ships is not uncommon in this region, given the presence of over 6,000 known shipwrecks in the Great Lakes. The rich maritime history of the area and the treacherous nature of the Great Lakes have also contributed to numerous legends and stories of spooky encounters. A researcher named Bruce Lynn acknowledges that if a ghost ship were to be seen, this location would be a likely candidate. These dashcam recordings were captured during heavy snowfall, in which we see a car vanish at an instant while driving on a treacherous icy road. On this particular day, cars were faced with extremely difficult driving conditions due to the snow and bad weather. The unexplained disappearance of the white car, seemingly taking advantage of the poor visibility, led to speculation, ranging from advanced tech to the possibility of time travel. Multiple cars struggle to navigate the slippery roads with their windshield wipers in a desperate battle against the constant snowfall. The challenging conditions are clearly visible as the vehicles drive cautiously, but the white car disappearing out of nowhere is a puzzle. How do you think the car vanished so suddenly, and where did it go? In the blink of an eye, the car, driving directly in front of the camera, disappears without a trace. Some speculate that the vehicle possessed capabilities beyond current understanding, implying the existence of time travelers and their vehicles. What you see here is nothing short of the complete carcass of a hairy male hominid, standing at a height of 1.8 meters, remarkably preserved in ice. During its debut in late 1968, the carcass was known as the Sibersky creature. However, its origin remains unknown. It was either found encased in a block of ice off the Siberian coast by a Russian seal-hunting ship, or by a Japanese whaling vessel. The hairy male hominid is described as possessing a broad chest, thick neck, and large hands and feet. Its face was wide and flat, with a short upturned nose and prominent brow ridges. One of the most striking details was the presence of an eyeball hanging out of one of the eye sockets, seemingly due to a gunshot wound to the back of the head. Other notable features included a slim, tapered, elongated thumb, as well as a heel pad on the outside of the palm, indicating habitual quadrupedal behavior. The implications of these features led to intriguing speculations about the nature of the creature. It was suggested that the hairy male hominid may represent a new species of ape man, or a living form of Neanderthal. If you ever see a video of a mysterious wolf-like creature, your first conclusion might be that it's a werewolf, if it doesn't resemble an ordinary wolf. But what if we told you that there's another possibility? The Beast of Gévaudan refers to a mysterious creature that terrorized the rural region of Gévaudan in France between 1764 and 1767. The attack attributed to the beast resulted in the deaths of approximately 100 men, women, and children. Historical records and reports describe the beast as a large wolf-like animal, but with some distinct differences from a typical wolf. The nature and identity of the creature have been subject of much speculation and debate. The creature was known for its exceptional aggression and targeted humans rather than livestock. The attacks were characterized by the creature tearing out throats or gnawing off heads. Several theories have been proposed to explain the nature of the beast. Some suggested it was an escaped lion or a relic from prehistory, while others speculated it might have been a trained animal used by a person. The attacks eventually ceased after 1,000 days of terror, and the beast was hunted down and killed by a local hunter. The Blemyai were a tribe of African men who reportedly had no heads, with their faces placed on their chests. Whether you believe the medieval legend or not, the Blemmyas were indeed a real African people who formed a nomadic kingdom in northern Nubia between 600 BCE and 300 CE. However, even from the earliest origins of their existence, stories circulated about their headless nature. The famous historian Herodotus, who lived between 1484 and 425 BCE, wrote in his histories that the headless tribe lived on the eastern edge of Libya. Centuries later, around 45 CE, a Roman geographer named Mela documented that the Blemia lived in Africa and had faces on their chests. This account was further supported by Pliny the Elder, who stated that the tribe had no heads, and their mouths and eyes were being seated in their breasts, placing them in Ethiopia or Nubia. The fascination with the Blemia continued throughout medieval Europe, as depictions of these beings could be found in manuscripts and on the edges of world maps. In this video, we see a man with a staff talking to a lake, and at first glance, it may seem like he's crazy. But as the video progresses, you'll notice that he actually has superpowers. He slowly controls the lake with animated movements, and also directs it where to go. In folklore and mythology, the power to control water is a recurring theme in various cultural traditions around the world. But how can this person have the ability to command the lake to go and come back, then come all the way to him until the water covers his feet? This skill is often attributed to supernatural beings, deities, or mythical creatures, each with their own unique depiction and meaning. Do you think the staff had any significance? Is this man alone in his ability to control water, or do you think this is something he learned, or is it magic? In 2012, a debate was sparked by the circulation of a photo depicting a primate caught in a trap by a villager in the Puran district of India. Forest officials have since claimed that the primate belongs to an endangered species, known as the hulag gibbon, typically found in the northeastern regions of India, Bangladesh, and Myanmar. Unfortunately, the hulag gibbon is on the brink of extinction. To verify the accuracy of these claims, a team ventured into the area in the district. However, their attempts to confirm the truth amidst rumors, tribal myths, and speculations provided futile. It was discovered that the primate had already been sold to another person. The photo of the captured primate displayed a remarkable appearance, reminiscent of an extraterrestrial being, bearing a striking resemblance to a human child. Villagers associated it with tribal myths, which revolve around a being believed to have the power to fulfill wishes. A Russian man was exploring the forest with his night vision device when he encountered an unknown creature curiously watching him. The creature gained media attention and was nicknamed Russian Bigfoot. As we see, it peeks through the branches at the cameraman in the first few minutes of the video. Eventually, the man decides to leave as the rain seems to visibly worsen. At the same time, the creature appears to be following him, making this sighting 100 times more frightening. The Russian Bigfoot, also known as the Yeti, has captured the imagination of enthusiasts and researchers alike. Although Bigfoot is usually associated with North America, Russia also has its own version of this terrifying creature. Russian researchers have approached the study of Bigfoot with a different lens compared to their Western counterparts. Instead of considering Bigfoot as an oversized ape, Russian researchers saw it as closely related to humans. A Soviet historian in his 1963 book referred to these creatures as hominids, and believed they were surviving representatives of the long-extinct Neanderthal species. What do you think this Russian man managed to capture on camera? Did it actually be Bigfoot? Let me know in the comments. In modern depictions, kobolds are often portrayed as green in color, although this is more of a recent tradition. Kobolds are often depicted as fairies, ranging from dwarf height to human height. In folklore, kobolds are believed to dwell in caves, but they're also associated with households. They are supposed to engage in mischievous activities, such as banging on pots and pans, moving furniture at night, and even playing tricks on people. This video captures what appears to be a kobold child in real life. However, the sighting takes place at a busy bus station, adding to the mystery of the incident. In the video, a woman passes through security with what appears to be a normal child she's carrying. Initially, there seems to be nothing out of the ordinary, as it's not uncommon to see children in such places. But as the child turns its face toward the camera, you can see that it resembles more the face of a small humanoid with a disturbing gray color and dark green tint. Was this really a child, albeit with a severe illness? Some rare syndromes can cause growth disorders, but it remains unclear if this was the case. Or was it actually a real kobold? What do you think? It's everyone's nightmare who's ever owned a car or been driving somewhere. Losing your car in a crowded parking lot, especially amidst masses of different cars spread across multiple floors. In the case of this woman, the fact that her car vanished cannot be attributed to simply forgetting where she parked it or it being stolen. It's believed that she must have entered another dimension of the universe, a part of the Matrix, or a glitching parking lot. When she stands on a specific floor, she can see her car, and she can see every car around her. Everything looks normal, right? But wait until she walks a bit further. She moves the camera with her, so we can see exactly what she sees. And what she notices is that the car has suddenly disappeared. In fact, all the cars have disappeared. The iconic image of extraterrestrial beings as little green men with enlarged heads and oversized eyes originated from this next story. In southwestern Kentucky on August 21, 1955, something happened at the Suttons, a large farming family in Hopkinsville. The incident began when Billy Ray Taylor, a friend of the Sutton family, went to fetch water from the backyard. It was then when he saw a shiny object in the sky. Without warning, the object silently descended to the house and suddenly fell to the ground. An hour later, prompted by the persistent barking of their dog, Lucky, Billy Ray and Lucky approached the back door. There, amidst an eerie glow, stood a small humanoid creature about a meter tall, with a large round head, arms almost touching to the ground, and claw-like hands, as well as eyes emitting a yellowish light. The men grabbed their guns and shot at the creatures as it approached them, with its hands up as if it was surrendering. Then the creature quickly somersaulted and retreated into the darkness. Shortly after, the men saw a similar creature appear in a side window. Startled, they called the police, who upon arrival found nothing out of the ordinary. One of the witnesses reported seeing one of the creatures repeatedly glowing at her bedroom window, with its claw-like hand pressed against the screen. The police were called again, but no one could ever explain who or what these people had seen at the time, making the story very eerie. When we think of alien abductions, we imagine a UFO flying right above our head and being able to take you with their beam of light into their spacecraft.
In cartoons or old science fiction films, the UFO usually has a physical beam of light that momentarily blinds you before you're supernaturally sucked up by that beam. What we see in this video may be the moment when an alien UFO attempts to abduct a man via such a beam of light. But what exactly happened and where this exactly took place is still a mystery. The people in this video seem to be enjoying some leisure time lounging outside on some chairs, when suddenly one of them disappears out of nowhere. People in the comments think she's been abducted by aliens, or taken by a ghost or even a demon.
In Victorian society, one name struck fear into the hearts of many: Spring-Heeled Jack. Often compared to the Batman of the 19th century, he terrorized the streets for weeks. Initially dismissed as just tales, the existence of this devilish character gained official recognition in January 1838. The first documented incident occurred when Polly Adams, a barmaid, was brutally attacked while crossing Blackheath in South London. This incident was followed by reports from terrified witnesses, including Mary Stevens, a maid who encountered a nightmarish creature on Barnes Common, and another woman who fell victim to an attack. The list of victims grew, while Jane Alsop narrowly escaped from a strange figure in her home. Jane provided a terrifying description of her inhuman attacker, describing a figure clad in a tight white suit resembling oilskin with a peculiar helmet. She claimed that the creature spewed blue and white flames. The mayor, Sir John Cohen, was inundated with complaints citing a demonic being with fiery red eyes and icy claws. Spring-Heeled Jack leaped from rooftop to rooftop and evaded an incident in 1870 where angry townsfolk in Lincoln attempted to shoot him. He laughed, jumped over fences and small buildings, and then escaped.
What is it about bathrooms that attracts ghosts? Have you ever experienced this? You look through the glass of a bathroom door and swear you saw something, a face staring back at you. But everyone would say you're going crazy. In this video, a person hears sounds coming from the toilet and sees a distorted face staring at him through the glass panel. You might think his friend or family member might be locked in the toilet. But no, when he opens the door, he finds nobody there, making you wonder if this house might be haunted by a ghost. Moments like this will make you think twice before going into the bathroom or toilet late at night. As this person walked to his toilet in the video, you could even see something from a distance, resembling a pale figure that suddenly disappeared when the toilet door was opened.
In Albania, local residents are captivated by the possibility of a Loch Ness monster-like creature lurking among them. The Albanian Nessie is said to have been sighted in the Albanian part of the Great Prespa Lake, which is shared by Albania, Greece, and Macedonia. The footage shows a remarkably large creature emerging from the water, with what appears to be a head and neck visible. The creature is seen moving up and down before disappearing underwater again. While many local residents strongly believe in the tales of a lake monster, others claim it could simply be a colossal catfish. A geography expert who first crossed the lake in 1970 shared his perspective on this matter. He acknowledged that the Great Prespa Lake tends to produce unusual events, not commonly observed in other bodies of water. Recounting an experience from 1976, Janos recalled seeing a towering column of water near the Greek border, resembling a mushroom. It remained suspended in the air for 10 to 15 minutes before eventually descending.
Dr. Mary Neal, a renowned spine surgeon, shared a remarkable near-death experience in 2023 that has captivated millions of people worldwide. Her extraordinary story, depicted in the new film After the Death, unfolded during a kayaking trip on a South American river. While kayaking in Chile, she went over a waterfall where she submerged underwater and claims to have visited heaven. She remembers thinking her chances of survival seemed unlikely. Confronted with the possibility of eternity, she turned to God, surrendering to His will. At that moment, she was enveloped by an overwhelming physical sensation of being held, comforted, and reassured that everything would be okay. At this point, her story takes an extraordinary turn. She claims to have found herself in heaven. Mary describes her experience as a profound shift in consciousness, unlike anything she had ever felt before. She explains that she's never felt more conscious and then unconscious, then alive and more alive. Remarkably, she recalls being embraced by Christ during her heavenly encounter.
Nestled within the Christchurch Parish Cemetery in Barbados, the Chase Vault was built in 1724. It was later acquired by the Chase family following the tragic death of Mary Ann Chase at the tender age of 2. Alongside the sole occupant of the vault, buried in a wooden coffin, Mary Ann was laid to rest in a lead coffin. Misfortune continued to haunt the Chase family when Thomas, the father of the sisters, died approximately a month after his eldest daughter. When the thick marble slab sealing the entrance to the vault was removed, the burial team encountered a shocking scene. The 3 coffins had been violently tossed about, haphazardly strewn against the walls of the tomb. No signs of human interference were detected, ruling out the possibility of earthquakes or floods. The coffins were carefully placed back in their original positions. Years later, the vault was reopened to accommodate another addition to the family burial plot. Once again, the coffins had been hurled about and the space scattered. A layer of sand was spread across the floor before sealing the vault. This precaution aimed to trace any remaining footprints should the culprits return. Years later, the vault was reopened for a crowd. To their surprise, it was revealed that the coffins had been moved again. The sand remained untouched. What do you think could have caused this?
The found footage of Pennhurst is a chilling series of video recordings that emerged in 2013. The footage is divided into two parts, with the original film believed to date back to 2008. Pennhurst Hospital, an asylum founded in 1908, has a dark history, and eventually led to closure in 1987 due to widespread reports of abuse. The video begins with text explaining that in May 2008, two students entered Pennhurst and mysteriously disappeared. The subsequent scenes depict a collection of found footage, seemingly recorded with a camcorder. The footage shows the exploration of Pennhurst by the two students, one identified as Jessica, while the person behind the camera remains anonymous. Throughout the video, the two engage in lighthearted activities inside the abandoned hospital. They're seen playfully riding wheelchairs and trying out old, dilapidated typewriters. However, the chilling reality sets in when the video abruptly ends. At this point, the story takes a disturbing turn. Allegedly, the young man and woman seen in the videos have not been seen since their entry into the dilapidated building where the footage was discovered.
Nearly 70 years ago, Nazi scientist Werner von Braun possibly unwittingly predicted Elon Musk's ambitious vision to colonize other worlds. In his science fiction novel from 1952, Project Mars, von Braun introduced a character named Elon, who ruled over the planet Mars. Von Braun created Project Mars as a space fantasy around a mission to Mars. He described a Martian government led by a group of 10 men, with a leader elected every 5 years through universal suffrage under the name or title Elon. This fictional portrayal of a leader named Elon bears a striking resemblance to the real-life Elon Musk, who has become a prominent figure in the quest for Mars colonization. After World War II, von Braun had previously worked on rockets for the Nazis, and was one of a group of German scientists secretly moved to the United States. There they continued to work in space exploration, ultimately contributing to NASA's efforts.
The 1561 Nuremberg incident refers to a mass sighting of unidentified flying objects that occurred above Nuremberg, Germany. According to historical accounts, the residents of Nuremberg witnessed a spectacle in the sky at dawn on April 14, 1561. They reported seeing hundreds of strange objects, including spheres, cylinders, rods, and other unidentified shapes, seemingly engaged in what appeared to be an aerial battle against the backdrop of a rising sun. The event gained more attention when a news article was published in April 1561, featuring a description of the mass sighting and a woodcut engraving of Hans Glaser. Now archived in Switzerland, it provides a visual representation of the celestial phenomenon observed by the people of Nuremberg. The interpretation of this event has sparked debate. Some modern UFO enthusiasts believe this sighting is evidence of an extraterrestrial aerial battle. However, skeptics offer alternative explanations, such as the possibility of the phenomenon being a sundog or another natural atmospheric event.
The story of Alyoshenka is one instance where a human attempted to raise an extraterrestrial baby. In May 1996, this mysterious and small humanoid corpse was discovered in the rural town. Number 8. The story of Alyoshenka is one instance where a human attempted to raise an extraterrestrial baby. In May 1996, a mysterious and small humanoid corpse was discovered in a rural area. The body came into possession of an elderly peasant woman residing in the village of Kelkanov. Driven by voices she claimed to hear, she found the small alien. Driven by the voices she claimed to hear, she found the small alien alive in a local cemetery. She brought it home and named it, and even raised it as her own child. News of the acquisition of the child spread through the village, reaching local authorities who believed she was mentally ill, subsequently leading the woman to be taken to a psychiatric hospital. Her alien baby died shortly thereafter from starvation, and a neighbor named Vladimir then entered the house and took the lifeless body. Police officers, suspecting that Vladimir was hiding stolen electrical cables, conducted a search of his home. Instead, they found the alien baby. After being sent to Moscow for further examination, the alien mysteriously disappeared. Conspiracy theorists claim that the Russian state had something to do with this and covered up the story.
In an intriguing Facebook video, an ancient artifact defies all rational explanations of laws and physics. The object, an elongated reddish-brown stone with pointed ends, bears engraved symbols on its surface, arousing curiosity about its origin and purpose. Although the person behind the camera doesn't reveal how they obtained the artifact, the object has sparked much speculation. The video begins with a scene where both the stone and the person's hand vanish from reflection. leaving only the skeleton of the hand visible. Some viewers have suggested the possibility of a curse associated with the stone, attributing attributing its peculiar properties to supernatural forces. When brought close to a clock, its presence mysteriously stops the movement of the clock hands. Similarly, the proximity of the stone causes a light bulb to flicker. The most bizarre revelation unfolds when the stone is placed in a cup of water, causing the water to inexplicably boil. Several theories have emerged in attempts to decipher the mystery surrounding the artifact. Others entertain the notion that the stone may be of extraterrestrial origin, speculating that it interacts with the Earth's tech in strange and unpredictable ways.
Chip Chan is a mysterious woman, believed to be in her 40s, who has been live streaming for over a decade. However, her true identity and personal details remain shrouded in mystery. Chip Chan first caught the public's attention in 2008, when a user on an online forum of 4chan stumbled upon her livestream by accident. According to her, a chip renders her unconscious and effectively keeps her confined in her own home. Handwritten signs in Korean scattered throughout her apartment serve as a plea for help. She exhibited signs of poor physical health, such as rashes and wounds, and communicated only through her blog. Additionally, she slept for long periods, ranging from 12 to 20 hours per day. One of the signs shown by her to the camera revealed her belief that she was being held against her will by a person she referred to as P. According to her, the implanted chip allowed P to hear her thoughts and even control her movements. Some viewers who deciphered the papers around her believe that Chan inherited a substantial sum of money from her deceased parents. This led to the speculation that P intends to retain control over her to exploit her wealth. In 2024, she stopped streaming, leaving her story a mystery.
In 2010, an officer pulled over a silver car, and as he approached the car's window, he was suddenly and violently pulled inside. What follows is a violent struggle. The officer's partner steps out of the car and comes face to face with the trunk of the first car, after which something jumps at him, causing him to fall to the ground. But what could be small enough to fit in the trunk of a car? At one point, the attacker reveals its identity, along with its friends, and it turns out to be a hobbit or a gnome. If it's indeed a hobbit, it fits the description, as they resemble humans but with distinct characteristics. However, it could also be a gnome. According to folklore, forest gnomes are rarely encountered by humans and have a closer bond with nature. Garden gnomes are associated with old gardens and are known for their melancholic tales. Siberian gnomes, on the other hand, are larger and have a more aggressive nature, freely associating with trolls. What do you think the officer encountered? And what might have happened afterward? Let me know in the comments.
In ancient Mesopotamia, the majestic Lamassus stood as guardians of cities. These beings had the heads of humans, the wings of eagles, and the bodies of bulls or lions. Revered for their immense strength, they served as a tangible representation of the ultimate authority of the king and symbolized protection for all residents. The most well-known colossal statues of Lamassu were unearthed in the sites of the Assyrian capitals. According to Mesopotamian beliefs, the presence of the Lamassu instilled fear in the forces of chaos, ensuring peace and protection within homes and cities. The first recorded mention of the Lamassu dates back to around 3000 BCE.
Raymond Tunstall, known as Pipes, takes center stage as the main character in the 1992 BBC documentary Ghostwatch. The story revolves around a live TV broadcast from a haunted house, where Pipes, a malevolent spirit, terrorizes a single mother and her two daughters. His nicknames come from the habit of banging on the pipes within the house. According to a parapsychologist, Pipes is believed to be a manifestation of accumulated negative spiritual energy spanning centuries. He's described as an old man with deep scratches, with one eye completely consumed by his cats in the 7 days it took for his body to be discovered. Throughout the story, Pipes exhibits typical poltergeist behavior, including knocking on walls, throwing objects, creating spots, and appearing in reflections, and even inflicting strange scratches on individuals. The eldest daughter of the family becomes Pipes' primary target for his sadistic scratches. Additionally, Pipes emits cat wails when engaging in particularly malevolent acts. During the broadcast, he gains the ability to possess people, as well as generate spontaneous gusts of wind, shatter lights, and manipulate objects from greater distances. The broadcast, which naturally had a seance-like atmosphere, led viewers to call the studio hotline at night to report poltergeist activity in their own homes. At the end of the broadcast, the chilling suggestion is made that the viewers may have unwittingly invited the spirit Pipes into their own lives by watching.
Juana Maria is an indigenous woman. She is known for her 18 years of solitude on the Channel Islands in 19th century California. While the indigenous population of the islands gradually moved to the mainland, Juana Maria chose to remain behind, even as the last of her people departed in 1835 via a boat. The reasons behind her decision to stay on the island are quite unclear, though the legend suggests that she was initially brought to the boat but defiantly leaped into the water, swimming back to the shore to be with her infant. For another 18 years, she lived on the island, initially with her son, who tragically perished in a boating accident. In 1853, a captain led a hunting expedition to St. Nicholas Island. During their stay on the island, the woman resided in a hut partially constructed from whale bones. She also inhabited a nearby cave, survived on dry meat, and kept track of time with a notched stick. During their monthly visit, her crew unexpectedly encountered Juana Maria. When the captain of the crew returned to California, the woman accompanied them. While she may not have been the last surviving member of her people, she's considered the last original speaker of her native language.
In the next video, a man is being chased through the library until they reach the center of the library. Then there's a moment of pause, but then in the blink of an eye, a second man suddenly disappears to the right. He doesn't walk away, but it's as if he's removed from the frame right before our eyes. The reaction of the people around him, especially the man who's filmed all this time, are noticeable. You can see his clear amazement, but also pay attention to the interesting reactions of the people around him. And who noticed the man and who didn't. What do you think happened to the man, and why were they chasing him in the first place? Could he be a time traveler with advanced tech? The glass delusion is a psychological phenomenon that manifested in medieval and early modern Europe. It's characterized by individuals strongly believing that their bodies are made of glass, and therefore susceptible to shattering. This delusion often led to extreme precautions by affected individuals to avoid potential harm. The glass delusion was most commonly observed among nobles and individuals of higher social status. Historical records mention several notable causes of the glass delusion. For example, King Charles of France suffered from this delusion and took measures to protect himself from it. He would remain motionless for hours, wrapped in thick blankets, and even wore a special suit with iron ribs to protect his glass organs. The prevalence of the glass delusion decreased after the late 17th century. However, isolated cases have been reported in the late 19th century.
Jenny Hanivers, also known as devilfish, has been a source of fascination and deception since at least the 16th century. These peculiar creations were often sold as mummified dragons, mermaids, or other fantastical creatures by sailors. They are dried and heavily manipulated specimens of rays, skates, or sea devils to produce a type of cryptid. Typically, the nostrils and mouth located on the underside of the creature are positioned as the face of the fabricated creature. Various parts are then manipulated to create the illusion of wings, legs, and monstrous appendages. The side fins are bent over the back, and the true eyes of the creature are concealed. The precise origin of the name Jenny Haniver remains uncertain, but a prevailing theory suggests that it may be derived from a French expression.
Grave robbers are individuals who engage in illegal excavations of graves or tombs with the intention of stealing valuable items buried with the deceased. The practice of grave robbing has a long history and has been documented in various cultures and periods. In classical antiquity, the Romans experienced theft and destruction of tombs, crypts, and graves. Grave robbery is illegal because it involves desecration of graves, which is considered a serious violation of social norms and religious practices. It often involves theft of personal belongings or human remains, which is not only disrespectful to the deceased and their family, but also infringes on property rights. Some, however, engage in grave robbing for the sake of desecration itself, and they enjoy showcasing their efforts. In this video, you see someone demonstrating how to rob graves and exactly what to look for, which makes it quite macabre. Those caught committing grave robbery can face criminal prosecution, including fines and imprisonment. Whether the person in this video was ever caught is unclear, and the story surrounding the identity of the boy remains a mystery.
In 2015, scientists unveiled the mummified remains of a child, encased in a cocoon of birch bark and copper. The combination of these materials, along with the permafrost, accidentally mummified the body. The body of this boy was aged 6 to 7 years old, and he was almost entirely well preserved. The remains were carefully wrapped in 2 layers of fur, one of which was reindeer skin. He was also buried with a bronze pendant in the shape of a bear. At this point, experts consider it premature to determine whether the boy belonged to an elite group of people. However, the way he was buried stands out compared to previous finds at this remote location, where no adult woman had been found. Notable differences include the absence of a wooden sarcophagus for the child. During previous archaeological excavations at the medieval site, a total of 35 shallow graves were discovered, with 11 bodies. Remarkably, 5 mummies were found, wrapped in intricate layers of copper, adorned with luxurious fur of reindeer, beavers, wolverines, or bears.
Seeing these large bones found really makes you wonder if giants are a concoction of our collective imagination, or if they truly existed in the past. Giants, as depicted in folklore and mythology, are often portrayed as enormous, monstrous beings that evoke a sense of terror. They appear in various cultural traditions. In Norse mythology, giants, known as Jotnar, are often depicted as opposed to the gods. Some are described as roughly human-sized, while others are depicted as enormous, such as ice giants, fire giants, and mountain giants. In the Old Testament of the Bible, for example, there are accounts of giants known as Nephilim. Described as beings with extraordinary strength and physical proportions. Giants also appear in English fairy tales, where they are often portrayed as dim-witted and violent monsters, sometimes with a preference for consuming humans or livestock.
Antonio was a Brazilian farmer in the 1950s, with one of the strangest and most undeniable stories of UFO abductions. To escape the scorching heat of the day, he began plowing fields at night. One night, he saw an approaching spaceship emitting a curious red light. The craft descended slowly and landed in a nearby field. He tried to run away, but was dragged to their spaceship by 4 small humanoid beings. The aliens took tissue samples from his body, and even subjected him to toxic gas that caused serious illness, and forced him to have sexual intercourse with a female alien. Antonio described her as incredibly attractive, with blonde hair and enchanting blue cat-like eyes. Afterwards, he was returned and attempted to tell his story, but was met with disbelief. Contrary to popular belief, Antonio became a lawyer and never changed his story. He reportedly even made models of the spaceship he had seen, an indication of his civilized and creative nature. One of the most intriguing aspects of his alleged abduction is the physical toll that it had on its body. Reports and subsequent medical examinations revealed a series of injuries sustained while under the control of these aliens. In an unusual incident, a tuk-tuk, commonly used for transportation in certain regions, was captured on video while moving without a driver. It all started with a man about to mount his bicycle. Then, however, the tuk-tuk starts rolling on its own from a slight incline. While this initial movement is understandable, what follows is quite baffling. The tuk-tuk makes a deliberate turn, as if guided by an invisible force, and continues its path along the street. You can actually see the bewilderment increasing in the man observing as the incident unfolds. Another man joins him, noting that the vehicle is completely empty, with no driver or passengers. Another camera angle from a different street also captured this moment. As the unmanned tuk-tuk continues down the road, 2 men chase after it in an attempt to bring it to a halt. The origin of the Fiji mermaid can be traced to Japan, where it was purchased and brought to the United States by a fisherman. The story goes that in 1822, a Brit named J. Griffin arrived in New York City, claiming to possess a mermaid captured near the Fiji Islands in the South Pacific Ocean. The news reached the press, and reporters demanded to see the mermaid. After catching a glimpse of what Griffin had brought, they were convinced of its authenticity. The Fiji mermaid was subsequently brought to the American Museum of Natural History. Although the exact origin of this mermaid itself is unclear, some people believe that the Fiji mermaid has the upper body of a monkey and the tail of a fish. What do you think is the greatest mystery in the world? Let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos we've made, click one on the screen or take a look at the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.